Hi, I'm Emma, and we are on episode 3 of the Mental Wealth Champs podcast, and we are here with some of our ATs, Anna and Rachel.
Hey.
If you guys want, you can tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Just give us a little background.
Yeah.
So this is my 4th year back at Mount Union. I did my undergrad here. I graduated in 2009. I'm aging myself a little bit, but that's okay. I did my master's at Kent State University. I graduated from there in 2011. I worked at various high schools, various divisions, and then I worked about 3 years in that setting, and then I decided to head down to West Virginia. I worked at the University of Charleston for 4 years down there. It's a Division II university, so it was a little bit different setting than what I was used to, but very similar to like the size of Mount, so it was very comfortable. I was there for 4 years, and then I came back up here as the clinical coordinator for the athletic training program. I took over as program director halfway through my first year as a clinical coordinator. I finished out our athletic training program sunsetted, and then I also was working clinically as well. So back here just working clinically now. I am in the 2nd year of my doctorate. I'm getting my doctorate through Kent State University, where I'm also teaching up there. So my days are a little bit long and hectic, but people usually see me in the afternoons, which is fine. But I love the profession, so yeah, it's a little bit about me, I guess.
I'm Anna. I'm also an athletic trainer here at Mount Union. This is also my 4th year. She's a couple months ahead of me, but also my 4th year here. I'm originally from southeastern Wisconsin. It's where I was born and raised. Went to school there as well. Got my bachelor's from Concordia University, Wisconsin in athletic training. Graduated in 2016. Moved to Pennsylvania, got my master's there at Cal U, which is no longer Cal U. It's Penn West or something like that, I don't know. They merged their schools. And then I moved back to Wisconsin, worked there at a high school for a couple of years. I don't remember how many exactly. And then enrolled in a Doctor of Athletic Training program, and I graduated in 2021, I think. With that, I don't know. It's okay. And I've been here since working with men's soccer, women's basketball, and women's lacrosse. So that's my main.
Oh yeah, I didn't say what sports I work. Well, right now volleyball / lacrosse in the fall. Not lacrosse, cross country. I don't work lacrosse. You work lacrosse. And then men's basketball will be starting up soon, so I'm primarily with them. And then softball in the spring. I forgot to say that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. All good.
What made you guys want to become athletic trainers?
Do you want to start with that one?
That's a good question, actually. I at first didn't want to be an athletic trainer. I wanted to go into physical therapy. My dad actually tore both of his quads, and I attended physical therapy like every day at 6 a.m. with him, and just kind of fell in love with rehab and that whole aspect of injury. And so I enrolled in school and was like, this is what I want to do. Cool, fun, but you have to get an undergrad degree. So I was like, well, this makes the most sense, athletic training, and I actually absolutely fell in love with it. Dropped physical therapy, didn't go to physical therapy school, obviously, and so that was kind of just what kind of got me into more like the rehab aspect, and then obviously athletic training.
Mine was a little bit different. So I grew up in rural Ohio, where there's more population of cows than people. We didn't even know what athletic training was, really. And you have to remember I'm a little bit older than all of you, so. But athletic training wasn't really a big thing for high schools, colleges it was, but when I came to Mount Union, I actually came to play softball. So I really didn't even know that athletic training was a thing. And then I met with Dan Gorman, who Gorman Athletic Training Room is what our athletic training room is named after. He was the program director. I met with him. I knew I wanted to do something with sports, but I wanted to also help people. So he said, well, why don't you try athletic training? I'm like, what the heck is that? I don't even know what that means. So he kind of explained it to me a little bit more in depth, and started working, doing the clinicals and going through that whole process. And then I only ended up playing 1 year of softball. It was just too crazy with how the profession is and working, covering sports and all that good stuff. So, and then I fell in love with that aspect of it. And then I fell in love with the teaching aspect in grad school. So that's kind of where my whole, I guess, circle has been, I guess. But I love both aspects of it. So.
What would you say the most difficult thing is being an athletic trainer? Like, the difficult part of it?
Well, obviously the hours.
Obviously
the hours.
Done, Gretchen.
No, I mean, for me, probably seeing an athlete get hurt, I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
it's not why we're here, not why we do what we do. We do it more for, I want to see your whole injury process back to return to play. So that's also kind of the rewarding aspect as well, I think. But it's never good when you see an athlete get hurt because you know what's going to be ahead of it. So
I always say having to do my job is like the worst part of my job. Like, I love when I can just come and sit and do nothing and just hang out with people all day, but when I actually have to be an athletic trainer, that's the part that sucks.
Yeah.
Hate seeing people get injured, hate seeing seasons ended, hate seeing people have to step away from their sport because of injury. And obviously, we're talking mental health. Like, I've seen many athletes step away from sport because of that too, and it's tough. It's really tough for them to have to be in such a place that they have to step away from their sport because of their well-being. So,
yeah.
It's probably the hardest. It's just that whole aspect of it.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, again, rewarding on the same aspect that you get to help them through that process. So, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to help get rid of the stigma around mental health? Like, I know you made an Instagram page about it, which we've been trying to spread.
Active on that.
Yeah. I remember, like, we sent it out to our basketball group chat before, so, like, we're trying to spread awareness about that. But I know, kind of talked to Kelly, I think, about it at one point with talking to, like, coaches maybe about, like, mental health and stuff like that. So I was just wondering if you guys, like, could...
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about ending the stigma is just having the conversation. You have to break down that barrier with your athletes. Me going into practice saying, hey guys, like, we need to take this seriously. Like, I'm here for you. We're going to get you where you need to be, get you the help you need. Let's talk about it. Why hide behind, whatever and hide that you're struggling? Like, I'm pretty open with my, my needs and my own seeking out care for myself mentally, you know what I mean? And I think the more we're open about that with each other, with our peers, with our students, with our athletes, like, the more that barrier is being broken down. You did talk about coaches. We do work with our coaches in that counseling department here at Mount to just kind of have those conversations with the coaches to say, hey, here's resources, here's what you can do as a coach. We did run something right before the start of the school year with them, and we hope to kind of keep that going. So that's one thing we've started. I don't know if you have anything to add.
We also did, I guess we did it last fall. There were, I'm sure everybody's aware, there's been quite a few athletes committing suicide recently, which is obviously awful. But one thing that her and I did, we put up outside the athletic gym. We probably should put that back up there now I think about it.
That graduation over.
The Post-it notes.
Yeah, I saw them in the ATF the other day, and I was like, you guys should put these back up.
Yeah, so we just kind of, outside of our athletic training room, put pens and little Post-it notes that athletes could come and just write anything that they wanted to, like supportive things, quotes, things that they're feeling, whatever, just to kind of get it out there. So maybe if someone was walking by, and they're having a bad day, if they see something on there that's uplifting to them, it could change a life. So we did do that last spring, which was right before graduation, so we had to take everything down.
Just take it down.
But we'll get that back. I think that was something good and it was good to see.
There was a good response to it too, like right away. Like,
I was honestly surprised because I was like, oh, we'll probably do this, and everyone will think it's stupid, but
no, it went well.
It did. It was awesome. So we'll probably get that back up and going too. And then we do when athletes come in this year. We've been doing it for the last couple of years, but they do have to fill out like mental health paperwork. So it shows us and kind of it's anonymous, but like we see it and then we can refer them out to Dr. Packard, who is our counselor, that, we can get that conversation going with them as well. So I think that's helping. And it's crazy to see.
And just the numbers that she said that they see that our student athletes here at Mount, like their population of patients overall or, clients overall, that I think she said like 45+% are our student athletes here at Mount. So it's sad to see, but it's good to see that people are taking care of themselves, and I hope that continues. So
yeah. Well, I definitely think I know the sticky note thing. There were a couple times where we walked by and we would leave a note and
you gotta get those back up.
Yeah, and I think you guys talking to the coaches has done a lot too, because I know this year our coaches implemented like mental health days for
I'm just glad to see them utilizing the information that they were given.
That's great. I definitely think like that kind of stuff has rubbed off on other people and like helped encourage that kind of stuff. So
good. That's awesome.
Yeah,
we need to get that back up. We'll work on that this week.
I can help you.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Oh yeah,
I can help you.
You can help us.
Anna. So, I just want to say, Anna is the ambassador also for Morgan's Message, which is something that I'm a part of. It's a nonprofit organization over the nation that's basically for student athletes and their mental health. So I know we started to do a little bit with that last year. You want to start a podcast, the Instagram, everything like that.
Yeah.
So what made you like want to jumpstart all of that, especially like when you did?
Yeah, so I mean, again, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Like I've had my own struggles with mental health like early, like when I was in high school, moving into college and beyond, and just like know that there's a need for it. There's definitely a need for the conversation. There's a need for the information. There's a need for, again, ending that stigma, just having those conversations so people realize that it's okay to not be okay and reach out for help when you aren't okay. You know what I mean? You're not okay, let's do something about it. Let's not wallow in that not okay. Let's find resources, let's find solutions, and let's get to that doing something about it standpoint. So I'm just very passionate about mental health care, ending that stigma, providing resources, being an advocate for my athletes, for myself, for other people in the campus community. Wow, I cannot talk. Community that are struggling with mental health, and just encouraging them to seek help. And this is just one way that I can be a voice, for those who are a little voiceless or don't want to speak up. And it's a tough topic, you have to. It's not an easy thing to talk about, but definitely something that needs to be talked about. So that was just kind of the emphasis behind my involvement, I guess. That answers your question?
Yeah,
I can't see you.
That answers my question.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about how like the hardest part of your job is like injuries, seeing people go through mental health and everything like that. How would you guys say you see it affects athletes the most, going through like both of those aspects, both mental health problems and like getting back through injury and stuff like that?
I think sometimes the mental part of injury is the hardest part. I mean, God forbid anybody tear an ACL, but I mean, sometimes physically you're ready to go, but mentally you have that fear of re-injury, or, and it doesn't matter what the injury is. So sometimes that's the hardest part, in figuring out how we can break down that barrier of, okay, what do we need to do we need to get you to counseling? Do we need to do imagery? Do we need to just talk about it? Maybe just you and I go into the gym, if it was happening in the gym, and just go through it again, just to kind of break that down a little bit. But sometimes that's the hardest part of injury is the mental part of it, is the fear of re-injury, the fear of doing it again, the fear of, well, what happens if, I just spent 9 months rehabbing this and then one step on the court and I could re-injure it again. And I mean, yeah, that happens and it could happen, but I think that's probably the harder part sometimes of
Injury-wise, yes, for sure. And then obviously sometimes mental health concerns stem from athletics. There's a need to perform, there's a need to, perform well, there's a need to be quote unquote okay, and just be there and be the best you can be, and sometimes that's not possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you as athletes, you have 7,000 things going on in
and
your
that's
life.
The thing, like athletics is only one part of your life. Like you have school, you have family, you have friends, you have everything outside of sport, and that's just one aspect of it. But sometimes that's the part that makes you spiral into that poor mental state. So
I mean, we kind of talked about this before, but like how I think a lot of students that go to college for sports kind of make that their identity in college.
Big time.
And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with like that kind of thing, because I mean, you come here to play sports, and
sometimes that's the hardest part too. After your 4 years are done, more than likely you're probably not going to go on and play at the next level. You might play for fun, but the athlete identity, and you hit the nail on the head when you just said that, sometimes, and I've seen it with multiple of my athletes, but who am I? I mean, I was an athlete all my life, and I mean, I struggled with that. Right. My freshman year, I came in, I'm like, okay, I'm playing softball, and this is what it is, and after that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, who am I? Like, I'm not Rachel, the softball player anymore. Like, I'm Rachel. Like, what is that?
Right.
So, and it's kind of, and it is silly, but I mean, seniors graduating and, sport ends, and it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So that is hard. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
that
I mean,
identity part it's very difficult.
I think a focus that needs to happen from athletics as a whole, coaches, teams, whatever, is to focus on person first, not athlete first. Because at the end of the day, like, get rid of everything else in your life. Like, you're you, and you need to focus on that, not the people, not the sport, not the school, not the whatever. Focus on them first, and that's not usually what happens. So, like she said, like 100%, a lot of people have that I'm an athlete identity, and that's fine. But that on the end of the day, you have to remember that like that's only part of your identity. There's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Rach, how did you work through that yourself? Like, how would you?
I don't remember, Gretchen. That was 100 years ago.
Okay, I know, but like, is there anything that at least maybe you've seen athletes do now that?
I think it's just, and again, it's talking about, it's conversation, right? It's when I had to give up that, I mean, for me personally, I knew I was still going to be involved in sport because it's my profession, which is why I'm in this profession and why I love it, because I'm still involved in sports. But it's different. It's a different aspect. But just the conversation piece, sitting down, talking with that athlete to say, hey, okay, this ended, but like, let's focus on what's from here. Like, let's talk about what do you want to do the rest of your life. Let's talk about where we need to go applying for grad schools. Where's your, your applications? Where's your, sorry, I'm not trying to stress you out, Gretchen. But things like that. And sometimes that's, if you can get them to focus on the bigger picture of like the future, or saying, hey, you did play all your life, but how else can you be involved? Can you coach? Can you, go give lessons to like younger kids? Can you, I coached like a 10U team for softball, and it was the worst experience of my life because they were 10 years old and had no clue, but it was also so rewarding because I was like, I'm literally like teaching these kids. So there's other ways that, and it's just, you're so athlete focused when you're in that athletic setting that when you get out of it, it's just taking somebody to remind you, hey, like, you can still be involved in that sport. It's just not in the capacity of you playing collegiately. Like, there's other ways that you can still, be around it and be involved.
And let's think about like community, clubs and community, community teams, what's the word I'm looking for? Like rec.
Oh,
sorry, like rec.
I was like the Y? I don't know.
Yeah, well, the YMCA sometimes have stuff, but like just like rec leagues, like go pick up games. You know what I mean? Like you can still be involved, but like just having that conversation, say, hey, this doesn't have to be the end if you don't want it to be the end. Like you can find ways to be involved.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I think it's like the expectations that give people meaning to the sport. Because I know with me, like a lot of times, like I find myself like focusing so much on the expectations that I'm not even thinking about like the game. So like
you're just trying to hit your goals.
Yeah. So like thinking about like me not playing after this year, like I'm kind of like without those expectations with me being done, like what does it matter, I guess, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if like
you feel like it's a chore more than it's a
no I'm not trying to say it like that. Like
that's how I'm sorry.
No, I'm not trying to say it like that. I don't know if it's making sense.
The goals drive her in her sport.
Yeah, like my my own expectations for myself, like in it and from other people, is like kind of what like pushes me and like wants me to like continue, I guess. And like after that, like I don't really know. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
I'm not saying it's a chore.
No.
I'm not saying that. So.
Make sure you edit that out of there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, can you edit that?
No, that makes sense, though. Yeah. Totally get it.
You guys are funny. Okay, so you guys obviously talked about the fact you guys have long days. How do you guys take care of your own mental health after... I know I talked to you guys about my stuff. So, like, absorbing everyone else's stuff while taking care of your own still.
You have to set boundaries. It's hard. It's boundaries are hard. Like, someone texts me or sends me an email. I don't respond. I do not respond after work. You send me a text, I might respond, depending on what the situation is. But setting those boundaries and making myself do things outside of work that I enjoy. I play video games. I'm a gamer, okay? Like, I do. Believe it or not, I'm a gamer.
What games do you play?
What games do I play?
Yeah. We'll come back to that.
Games?
Yeah.
Okay, I play Fortnite. Is my number one.
Oh.
Fortniter.
I
I
don't
love
know what
it.
that means.
That's
so.
okay. I just
So you
started
don't know what that
playing
means?
yesterday. I just
I have,
downloaded
like, a Nintendo with like Super Mario. Like,
well,
that's
it
what I
is.
have.
You can, but you can also.
Yeah, but,
I
like,
play mouse
old
and
school,
keyboard
like,
now.
Duck
I
Hunt.
play those too, but I actually stream on Twitch.
Please.
I'll watch
Making
you
the
on
money.
it to
So
her
yeah, like
office
that's
and
what I
she
do.
does.
Like my free time is spent doing things that I like to do. Like if I'm not at work, I'm not doing work things. I find other things to do with my free time. So play games, stream, hang out with my fiance, call my family. You
Plan your
know,
wedding?
find those golf. What?
Plan your wedding.
Plan my wedding. You know, things like that. Like things outside of work that I can put work away and not focus on it.
Do you think you can do that in this profession? Like, do you think you can?
You have
separate
to. You just have to, like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because, okay, sometimes, like, yes, I like to watch sports, but it's different than being involved, like, in a work capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy watching sports. That's something I also do in my free time. Like, but it's different. I don't know. I just have to set those boundaries and turn the phone off or not respond to texts that don't need a response or emails that don't need a response. Like, if there's something that's immediate or emergent, yeah, I'm going to respond because the job is 24/7 to an extent, but sometimes you just have to put it away.
It's taken me a long time to figure that out, though. I'm still trying to figure that out.
It's hard. I mean,
like my first even my probably 5 years in this profession, my first and second years when I was down in the University of Charleston, I mean, it literally took a coworker coming up to me. So like down there I was working women's volleyball, women's basketball, men's basketball, which all were basically in the same season, and then men's volleyball in the spring. So like I was basically like killing myself. It was awful. And it finally took, my coworker pulling me into her office and sitting me down, and she's like, and I'm giving a shout to Jenny right now because I mean I'll never forget what she said to me, but she's like, sit down. And I was like, okay. It was like mom, right? Because she was like a little bit older than us, but and she's like, she's like, I'm setting you up a counseling appointment. And I was like, for what? Like, I mean, I was like offended. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't need counseling. And she's like, how are you supposed to help your athletes if you can't help yourself? And to this day, and this was probably in
Goddamn.
2015 maybe, she like said that to me, and it is something that I have taken like to my heart ever since. Like, and it, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to go tell an athlete, hey, like, go to counseling, go do this, go do that, when I'm like not doing it? So
Not taking care of yourself.
yeah, so I did, and it was, and she's like, go one time, if you hate it, you never have to go back. And I said, fine. And I went every single week after that. It was so like uplifting, and I was like, man, like, this is great. This person doesn't even know me, and like there's no judgment, and like you just talk for an hour, and it was the most important part of my week that I looked forward to. So that was huge to me. And I mean, like I said, that's something that I mean I still currently tell my students this, I tell my athletes this. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. I mean, how are you, and however your work capacity is, if you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do your job correctly. So that was one thing that, I mean, kind of hit me hard, and still to this day I'm like, okay, like, take a step back.
Yep.
Learn to shut your phone off, learn to, whatever. But, for me, I'm super, super busy with my doc work and teaching at Kent State. So I don't really have time to separate myself because I get home, and I'm doing, like, homework at practice, and which, thankful my coaches all, like, are cool with it, yeah. But, I mean, but for me, that's what keeps me sane. Like, I think if I had time to sit down and play video games, I would go crazy. That's just not my thing. Yeah. But like I enjoy, again, going to sporting events and being outdoors and fishing and taking my kayak out and whatever. But it's, for me, I have to stay busy, and it is these, I mean, sometimes I'm putting in 12, 15-hour days, but like, to me, that's normal. Like, it's what I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, got through this, I, taught at Kent, I came here, took care of my practices, took care of my athletes, like, now I can go home and relax. But that's just me, I'm weird.
Yeah, along those same lines, though, you said the whole, like, can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup either. Mm-hmm. So you have to refill that cup. You're pouring it out all day long. You're giving. How do you expect to keep giving if you got nothing left to give? Mm-hmm. So you have to fill that back up. You have to find those things that you enjoy doing. If that's sitting down and watching an episode of something on Netflix, or going kayaking, going fishing, playing a game, doing whatever, like, you have to fill back up so you can give again. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the whole you're in school, you're working, you're teaching. Like I definitely like get that. I moved in the middle of my program, so I was in the middle of moving, taking a new job, going to school. Like I thrived on being busy. I thrived on having something to do. And when I was done with school, I was like, what do I do with all this time? So I had to find something to focus my time and attention on, and that's kind of where I kind of fell into the whole gaming thing. But that's like, it's like a job outside of my job, but it's fun. Like if I don't want to do it, I don't. Like I don't have to. Like it's fun for me, but it's also like giving me a purpose. So again, it's
maybe I'll find
a little give and
when
take.
I'm done with
I'll help you out.
daughter.
I'll get you hooked up.
Can you totally see me? Like you saw how long it took me to try it
on.
She was.
Imagine Anna with the headset.
I've seen her do it before. So.
Oh my god.
Have you?
Yeah, in your office.
What's your username?
In my office?
Maybe I'll watch you.
Oh, my video? Oh my. I'm not gonna out myself right here right now.
Would you like to like promote your channel?
No.
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 Anyways, going back to what you just said, I remember I wasn't taking care of myself last year, and I was talking to you guys about it in the ATF, and I remember you said that to me.
Probably.
And I literally was like, it was like you guys just mic dropped. It literally was like, it was like, how am I supposed to like be a leader or help the rest of my team if I can't even help myself? And I mean, ever since then, like you said, therapy's the best part of my week. Like I love it so much.
Shout out to Jenny. She's, I mean.
Well, and I mean the thing is you have roles in so many different capacities too. Like again, like you can't do that if you don't take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like you don't have you to give if you can't give to yourself first. So. It's hard. It's super hard to learn. It's super hard to.
Oh, and especially, I mean,
get used to.
Yeah, like I again tell people go counseling, but like I was like, I don't need to go counseling. I'm fine. Like, but my grandpa died that year, and I went through like I didn't realize I was hanging on to like a previous like divorce that I went through 10 years prior to, but like still it was stuff that I was hanging on to. I didn't even realize that it was affecting me. So like that was the bigger picture for me that I didn't even know. Yeah. So yeah, Jenny. Shout out to Jenny.
Shout out.
Gotta love her.
Shout out every time.
Yeah. Every time.
Not Rage, Anna. You talked about setting boundaries. Do you want to maybe give any advice on how people can set boundaries better? I mean, I know that's something a lot of people struggle with.
One of the things this year I told Kelly, I said, I'll come in and do my job, but I got to take care of me when I'm not here thing. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to put in the extra time if I don't have to. You know, I don't have practice till 6 o'clock at night. I practice 6 to 8. I'm not coming in until noon. I'm not doing it. Like, if there's a need to, if someone can't come see me in that time frame, I'll come in a little bit earlier, but I'm not coming in any earlier than I need to. I don't have to be here on a Saturday. I'm not coming in on a Saturday. Like, you just have to be firm, and you have to say, if I don't need to be here, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. And
your countryside's coming up.
Thankfully, countryside? That's the Wisconsin accent.
She's lost a lot of it, so.
No, but just saying this is what I'm going to do and following through on it and being supported is huge. Having the support of your supervisors, your coaches, your professors, your whoever, your, boss, if we're talking a job, I don't know, like obviously my job, my boss, supervisor, whatever, she is supporting me in setting those boundaries. Like, have those conversations so you can set those boundaries. And
that's the biggest thing, communication.
Communication, it's been huge. And, she's been really good because we're down people right now on you don't have to come in until, don't come in until you have to. And that's been super helpful too. But, like, just saying this is what I'm going to do and doing it, it's hard. It's so hard. But just forcing yourself to take the time you need for yourself, I think.
What if you're a people pleaser and you have to say yes?
Hi, that's me.
Listen, it's taken me 12 years, and I'm still trying to.
I'm not good at it. Yeah. But
you have to.
You're
gonna burn yourself out.
I'm on this self-care kick. I'm on this. I need to take care of myself. Like I don't know. I just do it. Like it's hard. It's hard.
I like to think I'm doing self-care, but then I find myself like I can't say no. I can't say no.
She can't.
She really can't. No.
It's hard. It's hard to say no.
Seriously,
and
I still struggle with
I'm too nice.
There's times I struggle with it too. Like, could I say nope? Sorry, you got to come from this time to this time. Sure, but you need to be seen. I'm gonna do my best to see you.
I think it's just like I'm just too nice. I don't know if it's that.
You'll grow out of that. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I mean,
I
wish I had advice on how to say no because I'm not good at it. But I think again, like having
It just takes
conversations with
time.
people that you have to say yes or no to, and saying, hey, like I need to do this for myself. Like, be open about it. Maybe
Communication. That's just the biggest
communication.
thing.
I mean, it's tough.
And that's with
but-
anything. I mean, as students, as athletes, as you have to communicate, and that's, I mean, it's difficult conversations sometimes, but it's needed. Like, you have to do it. As uncomfortable as the situation may be, like, it's crucial, and you have to be able to be bold enough to set those boundaries and stick to them, and that's hard sometimes, but. I don't know. I've been doing this for how many years now?
I'm
and
trying.
I'm still figuring it out.
I'm trying.
But it is what it
Trying to
is.
turn a new
mean,
leaf.
You've gotten better at it, Em. I mean, you may not feel like it, but you're like 5 steps ahead of what you were last year.
You just have to, like,
You
I
are.
think part of my thing is, like, remembering in the back of my head that, like, it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And it's okay to take a break. It's okay to say, I'm not going to do this. It's okay to say no. Straight up be like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, you have to give yourself sometimes permission to say no. And that was, like, what I had to learn was, like, I'm used to saying yes all the time. Like, I'm a people pleaser. I've always have been. Like, yeah, you need me to do this? Sure, I'll do it. Like,
Well, especially,
overextending myself all the time, like, I can't.
Going into
Because
a
my
new
mental
job.
health spirals if
Yeah.
I continue to do more than I can handle.
Okay, so going along the same lines though.
Go to
like-
therapy.
Okay. How did you cope with like suddenly being the person? Like I know for me, like once I kind of started, or at least trying to set boundaries more, like I started to feel like a bad person somewhat because I felt like I wasn't taking care of people as much as I used to. It's like, how did you feel with the like guilt of that?
That's a great question.
I mean,
It's just, I mean, you just have to see the bigger picture, and I think that's the hardest
I'm trying to
/
think about it.
biggest part about it, because by saying no, you are helping your mental health, and your well-being. So, and again, it's hard, but you have to be able to know what you're by saying no what it's meaning. Like, you're not working. Did that make sense at all?
No, sorry.
I was like, did I just like say something weird? Okay.
No, drop the phone, it's fine.
Because, I mean, if you're constantly, again, pouring out that cup, right, like you just talked about
Cup's
earlier,
back up.
and yeah, I mean, and you're working and you're working and you're working, especially, like, I know when I first went down to Charleston, you know, I was a new person. I didn't know a single person down there. Like, I went down there just for a job, and for me, like, I felt like I had to say yes to everything
Must be
because I
coming
was
here.
the new guy, right?
Yep.
And I mean, still, me even coming back here, like,
Yep.
this is my alma mater, and, like, I've known Kelly forever. But still, it was like, I'm the new person here. Like, I have to, you know, I want people to think this way of me, but on the same token, like, is that really the best decision either? Like, you're killing yourself for the benefit of somebody else, and it's not always the best thing either.
Yeah. I mean, and I think seeing the benefit in my own life, personal life outside of work, has been like the peace of mind for me to be like, yeah, like this is what I need to be doing. Like, I need to set those boundaries. I need to say no. Like, because I see it benefiting my well-being, my physical, my mental, just like overall, like I feel better when I take care of myself and set those boundaries. So I think like prioritizing myself in the same way, like, but at the same time, like, still showing up to work, still doing my job, still doing what I need to take care of other people, like, finding a good balance is between the two has been what's just helped me to kind of like, yep, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not go do that today. It's okay to say, nope, you know, I'll be in at this time. This is when you can come see me. So, yeah.
Okay, I have something to say, but I don't really know if it's a question. So, like, obviously you guys treat, like, athletes' injuries and stuff like that, but I know a lot of athletes take, like, physical injuries more serious than, like, mental health stuff and, like, getting treatment for that versus treatment for injuries and whatever. So I guess, like, I don't want to say, like, how do you think we could, like,
rework
kind of-
the mindset.
yeah, but I know it's, like, I know the answer is probably, like, communication and whatever, but, like,
You're not wrong.
no, like,
For me, it's the education piece. So
educating,
yeah,
just in general.
it's, you know, you come in with an injury. I love to teach, right? So for me, like, I'll pull out models and be like, okay, this is what's going on. Like, if you're not getting it, like, or if it's, you know, you're really struggling with it, hey, let's talk about maybe we need to set up time where you can go talk to somebody about this and try and break that wall down and break that barrier down to begin with. Sometimes kind of helps that from getting to that point, and just letting them know that it's okay. I think sometimes.
I guess I have like a background question to ask to this. So like we're talking about like a lot of stress related to like our sports specifically. Like I'm assuming athletes talk to you guys like about a lot. Do you think most of their stress is related to their sport, or do you think it's about like external things like relationships, school, or is it just like a big clump?
You usually find out that it's a little bit of everything.
Cluster, yeah. I mean, every athlete's different. It might be, one might just be sport at all, where, you know, they have a major where it's easy going, or if it's somebody that's in, like, chem and bio and OChem and all that stuff, it's, you know, it's literally everything, and then sport on top of it just makes it a big. So I guess it just depends on, like, there's no, like, this is how it is for every single person. But I think it's a lot of just talking with, I mean, they do, like, I mean, I know, and again, it's that building that trust with your athletes and that relationship, but, you know, they come in and talk a lot, and it's,
I mean, I know I do.
which fine. We love, I mean, it
makes it easier to get you guys where you need to be when you have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
When you tell us, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, like, it's hard because you have to create those relationships. You have to have that, you know, that I can go and talk to these people about this situation before you're like, here, this is what's happening in my day, this is what's happening in my life, but like creating those relationships, opening the door, saying, hey, you need someone to talk to, I'm here to talk to. And then when they come talk to you, say, hey, you know, I'm not trained, like, we're not trained to treat mental illness. Like, that's not our realm, but I'm going to sit and talk to you any day you need someone to talk to.
Right.
If I think you need professional help, I'm going to get you to where you need to be. Like, I can't do that for you, but I have resources and I know people who can do that for you. So I mean, it's just finding that balance of, you know, I'm a medical professional, yes, but I'm also here to
Dr. Anna.
take care of you, take care of your mental well-being too. Like, the more you communicate with us, the easier it is for us to get you the help that you need, whether that be physical, whether that be mental.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've walked out of your guys' office feeling like 10 times lighter than I did whenever I first walked in. Obviously, you're a big reason why, you know, I got the help that I needed as well, so I appreciate you guys a lot.
I mean, especially I feel like, you know, Anna and I have an office together. My office is really upstairs, but I'm never there. But, you know, our office is together, so a lot of times it's just, we tag team a lot of things, which is like, I love it. It's
nice to have another input, another point of view sometimes too. You know, like, I see Gretchen day in, day out at basketball. Rachel doesn't, you know what I mean? So I see the basketball side of things, but Rachel has maybe a different perspective than I do. You know what I mean? Right. So sometimes it's nice to have an extra set of ears, another voice in the room too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just all about that relationship though. I mean, sometimes it's hard too, working opposite gendered sports, because it's like, like my men's basketball guys sometimes don't feel comfortable coming and talking to me. They do now because like I've built those relationships up, but you know, my first year here, I mean, even Coach Fieldline, like, he didn't even know who I was. So, you know, then building that and getting that trust, and then once that you have that built, then, you know, the physical injury, yes, but even more the mental side is even the bigger picture of that relationship that I think is crucial, and is so important. So
just being open and honest, and someone that allows those conversations. You know what I mean? If you just shut down, someone wants to come talk to you about their mental health and you shut down, you don't allow those conversations to happen, they're probably not going to go talk to someone else. Yeah. But if you just sit there, you don't have to say anything or do anything, just giving someone the space and a place to vocalize their concerns, just listening. Like, half the time someone comes in and talks to me for an hour, I maybe remember 2 things they told me. You know what I mean?
What?
But
wow.
No, okay.
You can come talk to me, Gretchen. I listen.
Like, people say a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's like, okay, like, I'm listening to what you're saying, but like the next day, like, I remember the big things, you know, those conversations that we need to have. Like, yeah, okay, Gretchen told me X, Y, and Z is happening in her life. Like, maybe we should get her some help. Maybe she, you know, needs to go to counseling. Maybe it's a lifestyle change that needs to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just figuring out those bits and pieces. But again, like, I don't remember everything everyone tells me. You know what I mean? And if that's a concern of yours, like, come talk to me, because I'm probably not going to remember next week specifically what you told me. I'm going to remember that you came in and you're having a hard day, like.
Yeah.
But again, I'm gonna remember to check up on you because you're having those moments, or say, hey, you know, how are things going? Like, having those conversations. Like Emma, like over the summer we talked a little bit, and I checked in on you, and I was like, are you good? Like, how are things going? You're like, yeah, I'm doing well. You know what I mean? Like, but just remembering that someone came to you in a moment of need, and you were there for them, and then reaching back out to them a week later, a month later, 2 days later, for whatever the time frame is, like, they're gonna remember that, and just knowing that someone cared enough to follow back up with them is sometimes the biggest thing too.
Like, this has been like kind of heavy, so I have to ask, like, what's your craziest injury you've ever seen? Not violating hip or anything.
People ask me this all the time, and I never know what to say.
Come on, think about it.
Dislocated ankle when I worked semi-pro football. It wasn't even like college sports. I worked semi-pro football. It was like 40-year-old men that still thought they could play football.
That was
it was pretty cool.
That one was
just gross. Her finger.
When it shot back down.
We were literally like, oh, perfect. And then we were like, oh.
Like, I've never had anything like super, super crazy, but just like fractures are always crazy just because they look gross. Like, I had a kid break his arm when I was working at the high school. He just like went up for his football practice, went up for a pass, fell, and a kid fell on top of him, and his arm was just broken in half. Like, his forearm was just like unwell. But like, I couldn't give you one specific that I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, because
lots of like
they just kind of blend together.
The ear laceration was probably pretty cool too.
The ear laceration?
Yeah, I had an ear laceration.
When it was burning?
What's that?
A couple years.
Like,
Like a cut in the ear. Like, it was basketball players like hit each other and
shearing
cut.
clips.
Yeah, like the whole inside of the ear was cut open.
anyways.
Secrets.
Anyways, as like a final question, what advice would you give to any new student athletes or any student?
Go to therapy.
Oh. You can go to therapy.
I'm all about it. Like, it's literally like one of the best things I ever did for myself, and seeing other people doing better after going to therapy and getting the help they need, like medication or not, that's a whole nother story, a whole nother aspect of it, but getting the help you need, whether that's talk therapy, whether that's medication, whether that's, you know, you talk to someone once a month, whether that's once a week, whether it's 2 times a week, whatever it is, like recognizing you're struggling, whether that be someone telling you you're struggling, because sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need someone to say, hey, you know, I don't think you're doing super hot. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's get you to where you need to be.
Yeah.
But going and getting that help, like, for me, it's been amazing. Like, and just seeing my athletes that I know, you know, are seeking that help and getting the help they need, like, just seeing them, like, transform is incredible.
Period.
So, go to therapy.
I think for me, I mean, you all know my big one is you can't help others if you can't help yourself. But I think just knowing that you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
Like, even if, you know, being an athlete, you have that support system with your team. But just know that we're included in that as well. I mean, our coaches are pretty good. I think for the most part, most of our coaches are pretty good with including us when it comes to, you know, the big picture of, like, the team aspect. So I think that, you know, as long as you are reaching out, no matter who that be to, whether it's a teammate, whether it's a friend, whether it's a significant other, whether it's, you know, a coach, us. I mean, yeah, like
professors even, like,
yeah.
Everyone here at Mount wants to see you succeed.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just knowing that you're not the only one on this island by yourself. Like, we're all dealing with it. So, if we can, you know, if we can help to break down the stigma, and we're here for you, just know that. And that's the bigger picture. You know, we want to help you to get out of here and be the most successful, not just athlete, but individual, moving forward. And however we can do, you know, to help you with that and through that, like, just know that we're here. So, you know, Anna and I are always, our doors are always open, even if you're not our athletes. You know, I'm always willing to lend an ear. So that's kind of my big thing, I think. Just don't be afraid to reach out.
I think on top of that too is not letting it define you.
Yeah.
Not letting mental illness define you. Like, okay, yes, you may have depression, but that doesn't make you any less of a person.
Sure, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that's just part of you. It's not your identity.
Mhm.
Like, and recognize that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how many people around them in their everyday life struggle with mental illness, whether that be diagnosed or undiagnosed. And, you know, we all have moments of anxiety. We all have moments where we're, you know, down in the dumps, depressed, have sad moments. But, like, just recognizing that there's people around you that care, like she was talking about. People around you that are also, you know, you're not alone in it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not the only one struggling. But then also just, like, where was I going?
Do what you need to do to get the help that you need.
Yeah, do what you need to get the help you need. But, like, it's not,
I know what you're right.
it's not all, like, your mental illness is not who you are. Like, at the end of the day, like, just put that aside and take care of yourself.
Any final, I mean, that was a lot of final remarks, but any other final remarks that you want to?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It was awesome
Yeah,
to,
I think this is
to have a conversation.
It's good to, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And I hope people, like, take it seriously. You know what I mean? We can get you guys, I mean, you probably have some resources that you've been sharing and things. Like, keep sharing that. You know, people that are seeing this, share, share, you know, so the word about Mental Wealth Champs gets out, and the word about, you know, the resources we have here on campus, and, you know, in the local community, in the state, in the nation. Just there's resources out there if you do need that help. So
Yeah.
share away.
Speaking of, follow our Instagram, Mental Wealth Champs. Wait, actually,
I follow it.
What's your?
Yeah.
Don't follow it right now because
Okay.
it's kind of,
It needs some
once
work.
it's up
Okay.
and working again, I will share with you guys.
I actually forgot
Okay,
you even did that.
we'll shout it out
Once
in a
it's up and
different
running.
episode.
But yeah, sounds good.
Anyways, follow our Instagram.
Yes, follow their Instagram.
At least.
Anyways.
Mental Wealth Champs.
Anyways, thank you guys for coming. Our next meeting for Mental Wealth Champs will be October 12th at 8 p.m. We will send out more information on our Instagrams as well as in an email if you're in the chain. That's all we have for you guys today. Thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.